Jacinta, welcome to the GROUPEX podcast. It's so glad to see you here and have you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's an actual privilege to be on this podcast. So thanks for having me.
Great. That's nice of you to say. So, there's going to be a lot of people out there watching that may not know who you are. I know the guys in WA will obviously know who you are. Most of them will. But can you let us know who you are, how you got into the fitness industry, and what you're currently doing today?
Absolutely. So I started going to the gym like most people did at the age of 15, and was with a high school friend and we decided to go to the gym. Sounds like a great idea. Very quickly realized that I hated the gym floor. Was not for me. And one day just walked past a room where they were doing body attack and thought, that's my place. That's where I need to go. So went in there, and ever since then, I have to say it's probably been half my life since then now. But I have been obsessed with everything group fitness. So have been at the same gym since I signed up when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
So still there, and then decided to take the plunge probably 8 years ago now to become an instructor. It was sort of both being tapped on the shoulder and both going, maybe I could do something like that.
Brilliant.
So yeah, became an instructor. Multiple programs later, just after COVID, the opportunity came up to be the group fitness manager at the gym that is, I guess, probably my second home. And I thought, there's so much I want to give back to this gym that has given me so much. So I thought I'll just apply, see what happens. I have no prior experience of management at that point. So just thought, look, what's the worst that can happen? I'm very much that type of person. If you're not in it to win it, then you might not, you'll never know. So that's my story. So I've been the GFM there for 3 years and love it. Absolutely love it.
Nice. It's really nice to hear a story of that you had a passion to do it as well as that tap on the shoulder experience that we go through, that you knew there was something in that space that you were like, you know what, hang on, I like this and I want to be here. I think this is where I fit. This is my sort of space, that kind of stuff. And I say it's nice because the amount of people that I've chatted to where it has just been the tap on the shoulder or they've just sort of fallen into it, it's nice to actually have a chat to someone that goes, you know what, no, I wanted it. I was in there and I went, no, I think this is what I want to do. So hats off to you for realising that at such a young age as well. I'll be honest, I didn't realise what I was or who I was or what I was doing with my life until I probably hit my mid-20s to early 30s and then went, I don't want to work in the corporate world anymore. This place over here where I smile in the mornings and smile in the afternoon, that's what I want to do.
Absolutely.
It was a while for that to happen. So nice that it came before you early stages as well. On that, but we'll touch on it real quickly. What programs are you trained in? Tell me which programs you're trained in.
Oh boy, it's a list. So I am trained in, I'll have to go through chronologically so I remember. So combat, core, attack, pump, grit, sprint, tone, balance, strength development, and shapes.
Okay. Which is your favourite?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Probably, look, combat's my soul program. And I know when you interviewed Shiv a couple of weeks ago, she said that it was like her marriage, and it's very much the same for me. It's my marriage. It's the one I will keep forever until my knees give out and I'm in a walker and can't move. And I guess it's I sort of alternate between that and core. So core is my other love. They're my two favorites. I mean, look, each one has a place. I have to say, like, I don't teach all 10 because that would be, I don't even know what that would feel like to teach all 10. But I teach 4 at the moment. And I find that's a really good balance for me. And I feel like every program has meant something to me or has given me something at a point in time. Some programs I trained in because I love them, like a body attack. That's not something you train in unless you absolutely love it because it's not the funnest of times. But, sometimes I have to admit, body pump was a bit more of a strategic program for me because a lot of the gyms here had pump on their timetable and not a lot else. So wanting to find more work, pump was quite strategic for me in that way because I'm traditionally not a weights person. So they've all given me something at different points in time, but I feel like now I'm being very picky about what I teach.
Yeah, I think you can. I think we get to a stage where when you've got, especially when you have that many programs under your belt, you can pick and choose. I mean, to 10 programs or whatever it was that you're trained in, to try and remember the choreo for every single one, when knowing that there are 4 releases per year and there's that's a hell of a lot of choreography to stick in your brain. No matter who you are, you can be the best presenter, trainer, instructor in the world. That is a hell of a lot of choreography to remember. So I think, and also as we age, and most of us in the industry these days are aging, there's not too many younger ones coming in. It is much easier to go, right, yeah, I'm trained in 10, but I'm going to do this one, this one, and this one, and master them. Yeah. You can be the master of some, and the rest are there if you need to fill in or you need to help out or whatever it may be. But getting that down. So now I've got to ask a question about combat. Combat in the West seems to be a lot more popular than over here in the East. And there's probably going to be some people look at me going, Tony, no, it's not. You wouldn't have a clue. But no, in New South Wales, combat isn't as popular as what it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Talk to me about combat over in Western Australia. Is it across all gyms? Is it across most gyms? Is there a percentage that you would say you see it in gyms over there?
It's across a lot of gyms, I would say. I have found that it's one of those programs that it is, yes, it's very cardio focused, and but I find it's a lot more achievable than something like attack.
Okay.
And I find combat as a program is very accessible to someone who is more new to exercise.
Yep.
You get those people who go, well, I'm punching the air, what's the point? But I find there's something really cathartic in that.
Yep.
It's sort of like all your rage fantasies coming up, but no one's actually getting hurt. But yeah, there's something really cathartic about it. There's something really euphoric about it. So I feel like it just has so many ticks in its checkbox, and it's very popular over here. I can't speak to other states, but it's in probably most gyms, I would say, around here. There's only probably a fair few. I'm from south of the river in Perth, and there's quite a big delineation between south and north. So I don't very often go north, so I can't tell you what it's like up there. But all the gyms like sort of south of the river, it's on the timetable. It does so well. Like for us, it's one of our top performers.
It's funny you say the north and south of the river. I think same thing here for the north and south of the Harbour Bridge. Yeah, those that are on the north side don't come to the south side, and those on the south side generally don't go to the north side. Although, but years ago when I was back at North Sydney Fitness First, it was so close to the bridge that I would be one of the ones ducking into the city to teach because it was one train stop away, so it was nice and easy. But if you're further out in the burbs, it was like, no, we're not going into the city, or none of that kind of stuff.
No, I don't cross the city.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate that. With relation to group exercise management, how I suppose how and why and what is the questions I'm going to ask you. So we'll start with how did the opportunity come up, or how did you sort of know that it was what you wanted to jump into?
Okay. I guess for me, I mean, the opportunity, like I said, came up just after COVID, like after the big lockdown, when the GFM, I think, was one of those people who thought, oh my gosh, I do this as a career, and there's just not a lot of sustainability in it. So she was one of those ones who had to take a step back to find a full-time job. So when it came up, I had never really toyed with the idea. I have a career outside of group fitness. Group fitness is my love job. So it wasn't something I was actively looking for. But when she was, talking to me about it, I thought, I'm really protective over this gym. And I want to be able to number one, be the one to give back to the gym that's given me so much. Like it's helped me through deaths of family members. It's helped me through 2 degrees. It's been that one constant in my life since I was 15. And walking in there feels like walking home, basically. So I know most people by name. So it was the sort of place that I thought if there was anywhere I would ever take a role like this, it would be that gym, and I probably wouldn't do it anywhere else. And so there was that, and then feeling a sense of protectiveness over it. I was like, well, if I don't do it, then who's going to do it? And are they going to love group fitness as much as I do? Because I don't know, there's sort of this dichotomy of some group fitness managers are instructors themselves and absolutely love it
Yep.
and live it and breathe it. And then there's the others that sort of aren't group fitness exercise instructors, sorry, and
Yep.
they just sort of fall into the role. And I wonder how you can be in a role like this without having such a passion for it,
Yep.
because honestly, like sometimes it's not the easiest role, and it's definitely the love that pushes you through.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you there. And the funny thing is I resonate with what you say as well, because when I first the first gym I really went into was Fitness First, but it wasn't North Sydney. But when I jumped from just being a member over to being an instructor, North Sydney Fitness First was home. Yeah. As you know, I totally understand what you're saying when it feels like your second home. I was there before work. I'd then go to work. I was working at Optus in the big tower in North Sydney. I'd be at Optus from 9 till 5, and at 5 o'clock I'd walk out, go over to the bridge, the little walkway bridge, and go back to class again. So it was home. Yeah. I was on a journey, yep, to lose weight, to get fit, to experience it all, and met so many friends. And so it became that place that was, I spent as much time there as I did lying down in my bed at home. So, you know, why not enjoy it, be there?
Yeah.
We were lucky at that stage that there were a lot of trainers and presenters on the team there as well, which in itself had its challenges as well, because while I love them all, they are divas. And back then in the early 2000s, there were a lot of new trainers and presenters coming onto the team, and it was very look at me, you know. They're still all mates today, and they were probably looking at me going, "Oh, shut up, Tone." They know exactly my thoughts about them as well. But it was very much I loved the place, and when the opportunity for me came up as well, I went for it. Now, the first time the opportunity came up, I went for it, and I got knocked back. And I'll be honest, it took the wind out of my sails, because I was like, hang on a second, I've got a corporate career. I'm in front of people, I'm managing people, I'm doing all that kind of stuff daily. Yeah. But it wasn't in the fitness industry, and the people that I was being interviewed by had no idea about my life outside of the gym. Which is completely fine. And I alluded to little bits and pieces, but obviously not enough to let them know and make them realise that, hey, you know what, I can probably do this with my eyes shut and my hands tied behind my back. But you know, other people got it. And then when the opportunity finally came up again and I applied again, I was lucky enough to get it. But I walked into a complete different style of management that I'd never, ever experienced before. Now, yeah, I had managed people, but the majority of people that I'd managed in the corporate world were pretty much one style of person. There was one style of management you needed, one skill set to be able to manage a corporate person. Now, yeah, there's a few little nuances with their personalities and their roles and that kind of stuff. But I walked into group exercise and I knew the classes, I knew all the instructors on my timetable. But what I didn't know was how the hell I was going to manage these people. And it was a steep learning curve. And I mean, steep. Yeah, straight up. There's like, oh crap. Okay, yep, Tony. Wow, you know these people, but now you've got them reporting to you, and you need to build a rapport with them on a complete different level. Yep. And it was so far out of my comfort zone at first that it wasn't funny. I was lucky that the trainers and presenters, while they were a little bit cocky, they were probably a little bit easier to manage them because they had a level of professionalism, I suppose is the word I use there, where they needed to show that little bit more because they were at that quality of instructor. But then I also had new instructors that were on the timetable, or relatively new instructors on the timetable that were, I rock up, I teach, I leave. That's all I do. Yeah. So for me, it was quite interesting to have a look at the different styles of management that I needed to understand and push in to those instructors. How have you found that side of getting into management and group exercise?
Yeah, look, I'm very similar to you in the sense that my career, very well, probably within the last 2 to 3 years, I do manage a large team of people, and I find that very achievable. I have 40 people at the hospital that I look after and who report to me, and I find that a lot easier because, you know, I'm a nurse, so we're all nurses, so we're very, very similar aligned. We're very aligned with how the hospital runs and all that sort of stuff, so I find it a lot easier. So when I came into the group fitness side, it was very different because you've got, I guess there's two types of instructor, I guess, if you wanted to boil it down. You've got the ones that do it as their livelihood. That's their main income, that's their career. And then you've got the ones like me who do it because they absolutely love it and can't live without it.
Yep.
And it's just something we take on extra. So I find that there's often two skill sets that you need to manage those two types of instructors. And I'm with you. It was a very steep learning curve for me as well.
Yep.
I'm probably one of the younger instructors at the gym.
Yep.
And I think sometimes that's worked against me.
I was going to say that comes with its challenges at the same time as well.
Yeah. And I'm quite familiar with that because I'm also the youngest manager at the hospital that I work at. So I'm used to that, but I found that I think I took it a bit more personally when it happened as a group fitness manager because I've known these instructors. I've been to their classes day in, day out since I was 15, so so I took that way more personally when I first came on. And I feel also lots of different personalities. Everyone sort of has different expectations of what their group fitness manager will do for them. And I think that's because we all work at so many different gyms that have different structures in place. So I found those two things really hard, was just managing the personalities, because I'm the type of person that doesn't want to upset anybody. I'm very much, I always like to be seen as helping as much as I can. I think it's the nurse in me. And I don't like to upset anybody. So I'm very much one of those people who like to talk things out so we don't have to progress to any sort of conflict resolution and things like that. So it's a really dynamic environment, especially when you've got those instructors who you do one class a week. You don't see them very often. But then you've got the ones that have 10 classes a week. And I just felt that the dynamics are so much more varied in a group fitness environment because you're dealing with so many different variables.
Personalities, times, day, all that kind of stuff is I suppose a challenge as a GROUPEX manager. But would you class it as a rewarding job as well? Not so much for the passion that you have, but do you get a sense of success at the end of your week or your fortnight or whenever it may be from your team and what they're delivering on your timetable and for the gym?
Absolutely. I think the rewarding, if it wasn't rewarding, I don't think I would do it. Because it does feed something in me, I guess. But it also does, the best thing that I can hear is that when members come up to me, because they know me, I've been participants with them for so many years before I became an instructor, they go, oh my God, thank you so much for making the timetable, like adding this class on, or thank you for listening to our feedback and changing the time of this class. That to me is the best bit, is because we're here for our members. I'm here for my instructors, but I'm also here for the members as well. So I sort of have two areas that I feel really responsible for. So to me, the greatest gift is when a member goes, oh my God, the instructor you got to take this class on is amazing. We love her. Like, thank you so much for finding her. All that sort of stuff really fills my cup. And the other side, I love when I do a payroll run and it goes swimmingly and everyone gets paid properly. Or when you finally find a cover for a class that's been really hard to find cover for. Like, there's lots of little things as well. But I guess the most rewarding part for me is having or being a part of a space that is a safe space to so many people. So we've had instructors who have taught with us my longest instructor has been with me for 33 years at this gym. So that to me shows that the environment that we provide, the space that we give people is really important. And that's what is rewarding to me, that the instructors want to stay with us. They say, look, I've been offered a class at this gym, but I want to teach at your gym. Like I get so much of that. And I love that so much because it shows that we've got the right members in the room. We've got the right instructors on the team, and we've got, now we've got an awesome management team, which like really pushes behind us in group fitness. So all of it just culminates, because it is sometimes when you wake up at 4 o'clock to a phone call saying that your 5:30 instructor is very unwell or something's happened. Sometimes it's hard to remember why it's rewarding. But for the most part, yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a love job for me, like I said before.
Yeah.
I already work full time, so I currently work over full time to do this job.
Yep.
Um, so it's definitely something that if it wasn't something that absolutely made me feel awesome, I don't think I would do it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
in so many ways, it's so rewarding.
Yeah, it's nice to hear, and obviously, it sounds like you've got an amazing team working for you as well. So that the whole process is that little bit easier when you have. You know, I refer to this phrase quite a fair bit when I say that when group exercise is firing on all cylinders, the whole team, the whole department, the whole everything is working exceptionally well. You know, attendance is up. You've got instructors that help out, that cover for each other, but you also have a management team from the top, the owners or the gym managers or whoever it may be, that understand group exercise as well and are supportive
Mm.
of you and all of the instructors and the whole team that are there. I want to ask you a question with relation to like vision and goals within the centre. Does you don't have to tell us where you're working if you don't want to. If you want to go into that, we can
Mhm.
mention that. But do you, as a gym, as a facility, as a venue, have a vision and goals on where the whole gym is going, as well as the group exercise department?
Yeah. Look, I think previously it wasn't as much the case,
Yep.
and I think it just comes down to having the right people at the top. And I can honestly say that I've lived through a few club managers at this
Yep.
gym. So I've seen, I guess, good and bad. And honestly, I can say the club manager we have at the moment is 100% behind group fitness.
Brilliant.
She is, always the one who says, let's try it. Like she was always the one who goes, yep, she comes and does classes. She tries to make sure that her reception team does the classes as well, so they know what they're talking about when members
Yeah.
ask. Um, it's she always is on top of, is the equipment okay? Is everything going okay? Do you need help with anything? And our owner. So we've just recently gone through a bit of an ownership change, and I can honestly say that our owner is very much the same. He is incredibly dedicated to the community at our gym. He loves our gym. He's always there. He knows the members. They all know him to say hello.
Brilliant.
He does classes. Like he's come in. One of my best recent things is he came and did shapes.
Yep.
One of my shapes classes, and honestly, it is like it's the best thing to see your your owner and your club manager in the room at the same time
Yeah.
doing your class with 30 other people, and it's so good because they get to see firsthand what the vibe is like,
Yep.
why it's so popular.
The
Um,
impact.
yeah,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
humbling Shapes is as a program.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just all of that. So I can honestly say it hasn't been that way in the past.
Yep.
It's was very much an uphill battle when I took the role on. But now, I guess, sort of in the last sort of year or so, we've really seen a bit of a change. There's some investment happening into group fitness, um,
Excellent.
which previously wasn't the case. And there's lots of, I mean, it's a bit of a moving feast at the moment at the gym because we've got some renovations ongoing, but there's some plans to renovate and reinvigorate the group fitness space, which is great.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes that's sort of the last priority
Oh yeah.
um,
Yep.
on a lot of gym owners' minds, because a lot of people do unfortunately still have that mindset of group fitness being like it's such a pain. Like
Yep.
all it does is cost us money, and
Yeah.
it's that's sort of been something that has changed recently, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of focus on it. And to me, it's just awesome to have to go to people and say, look, that Les Mills is bringing out these new programs. Like, what do you think? I think our members would love it.
Yep.
And they go, yeah, let's give it a go. Like, what's the
Yeah.
worst that can happen? It doesn't work, and then we take it off.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's really good to have owners and managers that are, I guess, sort of advocating for us as well, because I am the biggest advocate for group fitness, always will be. But one voice is very hard,
Yeah. Yep.
especially when what you're asking for requires funding, requires energy, and requires probably some work from other people. But I can honestly say, like, they are fantastic, and that's why the gym is flourishing the way it is. Like
Yeah.
we've seen an increase in membership, we've seen, recently we've had heaps of members come to us because another gym near us closed their creche.
Yep.
And I'm so happy that our owner sees the value in a creche. We're
Yeah.
probably one of the only gyms that has a creche morning, evening, and weekend.
Yep.
Because there's so much value in those members that they come to those
Yes.
classes. So
Yeah.
it's good to be able to see that they can understand what this brings to the gym. So that's
It's
a
so
very
refreshing.
long-winded answer for your question.
No, look, it's perfect. The perfect answer, because it's what it shows to me is that you have an owner, a manager, a managerial team there that get it, that actually understand group exercise and are actually willing to invest because they see the value. Yeah, as we know, and every single gym, every single owner, every single manager out there that has group exercise as part of their offering, yes, it's a cost center. Yep, there is a cost involved with running group exercise. However, as you and I know, and as a lot of GROUPEX managers do know and understand, it's our biggest retention tool that we have in a gym environment. To know that you have a team with you that are willing to invest, willing to understand, willing to get in there and do the classes as well. There are so many, and I say so many venues out there that I've been to visit where the owners, the managers don't go in because, oh, that's not my space. I don't go in there and do that. Then they have no understanding, none whatsoever. And even with some of the larger chains, I know that some of the people at the top of the food chain have never walked into a group exercise space and do not understand the value that it brings to their business. They know that they need to have it, but it's almost like the necessary evil. They're like, oh, yeah, righto, yeah, we've got that on, but yeah, whatever. It's nice. It's so refreshing and nice to hear that that is what's happening for you and the experience you're having with that over there as well. So hats off to you and the team that you've got over there. Tell them not to stop. Yeah, tell them that Tony said I've got to keep going.
I will send that to them.
They're going to go, who? Oh, that guy. Oh, yeah, righto.
This is the GROUPEX podcast.
I want to have a chat to you about team building and not so much recruiting of new instructors, but building the team that you currently have, because it sort of leads into management skills and that kind of stuff as well. What, if any, team building exercises have you done with the team since coming back from COVID and starting the job and getting in there?
So this is a hard one because we haven't done much, I'll be honest with you. And to me, it's always something that I would love to do. We do the usual like staff meeting and things like that, but I feel like there's so much more opportunity there. And again, I think it comes back to having the right team at the top. And I think the team that we have is very invested in that now. Whereas previously it was just like, well, they're instructors. And they're at our gym in particular, they're contracted. So they're invoicing instructors. So it sounds like to me, sometimes contractors are seen as even less of a part of the team because they just invoice for their services and they go in, do their job and leave. So previously I feel like that was sort of the attitude. Whereas now I think once we've gotten over the renovations and all that sort of stuff and all the plans that we have to improve the gym sort of physically, I would really like to get in and do some of that because I feel like it's something that we don't do very well, but I feel like it has its challenges in the sense that previously it was never done. So I feel like with the instructors, maybe there's a little bit less of a, well, why are we doing this? We haven't done it in the past and we're going fine.
100%. There will be hesitation. There will be I just teach. I don't have time for that. I've got a family. I've got all of those, what I class as excuses, because I get straight up and say, yes, that's what they are. If you're really invested, you make time. It's like quarterly workshops. People say to me, oh, I can't do that. Guys, seriously, it's 8 days a year.
Yeah.
Come on. You can. You will make time. If you're really invested and want to be part of it, you will make time. The hardest thing is for you as a manager and for the senior management team as well is to find that time that suits everybody. Yeah. I can't do that day, I can do that day. You want to try and obviously make it work so that you're getting the majority of people in there. So it is a team bonding, team building event that you're doing. But if you've got management above you that are also willing to invest and spend a bit of money on that type of stuff, things like a lawn bowls day or, going out for lunch or whatever it may be, just meeting in the park and having a barbecue, something like that where all your team is together. And it doesn't need to be 30 times a year. You may just be able to do it once a year. Hey guys, it's getting close to Christmas. Let's get together as a team, have a Christmas party or whatever it may look like I believe is so valuable and does help the growth of the team as well. If your instructors that you've got on your team are talking to other instructors, and we know that instructors talk to we talk to everybody, don't we? Instructors talk to other instructors, and those other instructors have found out that your team has actually done a team building day, and you went and it was laser tag or it was whatever it may be. That kind of stuff also creates a little bit of FOMO, and other instructors are like, "Oh, my gym doesn't do that." Got any classes going? It's a simple thing, but it's such an effective thing at the same time. So when you do get the opportunity, once the renovations and that kind of stuff is done, I would strongly suggest getting in there and giving that a shot as well. Do something, even as simple as going out for lunch, whatever it may be. Just try to start off small and then try and build it into.
Yeah, it's definitely something I feel like we need. And I feel like it has its challenges because, there's always someone who's teaching. So someone's going to miss out because we have, weekend classes, evening classes in the weekend, like all of, our timetable is quite broad. So there's always someone that's going to miss out. And I feel like previously there's always been a focus on team building with the members. So we do 4 member catch-ups a year where the owners, the managers, the instructors will come, we'll go to the pub, we'll have a drink. We did a community boot camp earlier this year before winter settled in, where we, got a bunch of our members to come down to South Beach and did a boot camp and, did coffee after and stuff like that. So we do a lot of community building, which is awesome because I feel like that's how you get such a good environment in the gym, and such a good vibe, and you get the right people coming to your gym. But I feel like there's that little bit that we probably need to focus more on, is the instructor portion. Or sort of the wider sort of team, reception and everything as well. Because I don't like to separate the instructors from the team. Because I find, again, that's sort of like an us versus them mentality that's quite prevalent elsewhere. And I don't like that. I think that we're all trying to do the same thing here. So we should all be part of the same team. But I feel like the team building is something I'd love to do. Once all of the other logistics are sorted, it's something I'd like to focus on for next year once we get our space right. Yeah.
Look, when the time comes, reach out. I'm more than happy to bounce some ideas off you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of stuff as well. So please reach out. Probably going to be a strange question. Group exercise management being so, I'm full of them. There's a lot of people watching now that goes, that's not all he's full of people, I can tell you that. The group exercise management is such a wide variety of stuff that we need to do in our day-to-day jobs, in our weekly jobs, monthly job. What is it about group exercise management that in your job, that you love the most? What is the thing that you go, this is why, and this is what I want to do with GROUPEX management?
Oh, that's a very good question. I guess the thing I love about the task, I guess, well, not task, but like, I guess the role I have is sort of constantly ensuring that our timetable is getting better. We're offering more to our members. We're taking into account what's happening in the world of fitness. Like previously it was very much about like that heavy hitting, hard style training. So we used to have thousands of grit classes on the timetable because that's what we were catering for. And our gym members are incredibly fit. They're so strong. They come in to get it done. Like that's it. It's very much like that mentality, but we're finding sort of, there's a bit of a shift into more things that feed the mind and the body. And I think a lot of people, myself included, because look, body attack, like person here, like this, that was my thing. I would love to do nothing more than to do 2 body attack classes a day. And I used to do that for years on end. But now, I guess we're sort of thinking, I don't know if, I know you don't like the word COVID, but I feel like that sort of really put that into perspective for a lot of people. They need to focus a lot more on their wellness. And so that's why we're seeing such a shift in our area that, programs like Shapes are gangbusters. Like, honestly, we could not have predicted the amount of love that our club has for Shapes. because you can get the same sort of feeling of absolutely working yourself to your limit, but you don't have to kill yourself and jump everywhere to do it.
Yeah.
So for me, my favorite bit is finding the types of classes that our members love and giving that service to them. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to provide a service for the instructors, but also for the members.
Yep.
And we need to be catering to that. Otherwise, we're not going to progress in our group fitness space. We're going to lose members, and that's not what we're about. So, and I don't like the idea of, like, probably conversely to that, my most hated part of my job, well, there's two, but one of them is removing classes from the timetable.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's obviously, it was there for a reason for a really long time, and for whatever reason it sort of shifted. But that's the sort of gut-wrenching thing that I really don't like doing, because I have to take that instructor off that time slot, or I have to upset some really hardcore regulars that like went to that class religiously. So that's sort of one of the gut-wrenching things I don't like about my job. But yeah, to come back to your question, the thing I absolutely love is being able to look at the service we're providing and go, okay, like, look, our timetable doesn't change a lot. I'll be the first to admit we're not one of those people who does like a quarterly timetable that completely changes, because we know our members love it. Our numbers don't lie. I'm not going to change a class that has 30 people just because we're supposed to change the class every quarter. We will make changes when necessary, if there's things to be removed or things to be changed, and when there's new offerings to offer our members. So to me, I love that. That's my favorite part, is finding some programs that people love, asking the members. We do group fitness surveys to find out what they love. You know, that's the sort of thing I love to do in my role.
You've mentioned something there which I think is which I want to touch on. Depending on the venue, depending on where you are, changing your timetable too frequently can be drastic, can be catastrophic to your members. Yeah. And I revert back to Fitness First North Sydney, where I was when the gym first opened. It was trying to find what would work. Yeah, we're in a very high corporate environment where most other gyms around wouldn't offer lunchtime classes. Yeah, we started offering 45-minute classes. So every single class on the timetable from morning when we opened at 6 o'clock till, you know, the last class that finished at 7:15 or 7:30, whenever it was a 45-minute class across the board, because in a very dense corporate law firm, telecommunications environment, everyone coming in had a short window. Yep. If you were lucky enough to live in the area, you went before work, you had a shower, you went to work. If lunchtime, now let's be realistic, you had a 1 hour lunch break. Classes were at 12:15, so that you had 15 minutes or so, or whatever it was, 10 minutes or so to walk in, get changed, get in there, get your class done. And then we had we've still got time at the end of class to quickly jump in the shower, go and then get back to work, so you're not sitting there dripping with sweat, reeking all afternoon. Yeah, we've got an hour for lunch. Maybe push it to an hour 5, you know, depending on what was going on. We had to understand what our members, the people in the area, what they wanted. And back at the time when we first opened, Shannon did it throughout a lot of surveys to members. We were getting a lot of feedback from members because the club was brand new. We had a lot of trainers and presenters, but we had to tailor it to who we had, members coming in, but also what we had in the way of availability of instructors that could teach. Now, going back to 2002, when that gym first opened, there were a lot more instructors that were in it full time. I mean, I ended up teaching 15 classes a week, and I know there were some others that were teaching upwards of 20 to 25 classes a week back then, because that was what you did. Back then, you made do with what you had in classes, and you would teach at, 20 or 30 different venues or whatever it was, where you just went to get classes and do whatever. With that, I want to ask you about feedback and, I suppose, surveys for your members. Is it something that you do frequently, you don't do at all? Can you talk us through that process of feedback and getting feedback from your members?
Yeah. I can't remember when I was a member back in the day having a group fitness survey. And that was always something. Look, I'm very much, I'm sort of bound by my other job experience. So being a nurse, you're constantly responsive to the needs of your patient. So I'm very used to going, look, is there anything I can do for you? What can I do to make you more comfortable? All those sorts of things, you know? So when I took on the role, I was like, we don't have a group fitness survey. Why not? Like, why are we not asking for the information from the people who use us, like who use our service? Yep. So we do a group fitness survey every 6 months. And we ask all things. We ask about time slots. We ask about instructors. We ask about programs that they would love to see on our timetable. I ask them about, you know, how long the classes, they want the duration of the classes. Our gym is like crazy because they always want the hour format. Don't give them a 45-minute. They don't like it. But that's something I wouldn't have known unless I'd asked.
Yeah, true.
Because the trend for a while there, that I teach at 2 gyms. I'm very selective now. The other gym I teach at only does 45 minutes. And I wonder if they know that a lot of the feedback I get from my members in that class is that they don't like it. It's not long enough. And so that was something that sort of triggered me to go, well, I want to know what my members like. Like my members, if I could give them, like, sometimes we would do like, because I teach a Sunday double. I teach a core combat double on a Sunday morning, which is like, it's the best vibe ever. I'm not trying to be biased, but it's an awesome vibe. And I used to do this thing, like before I got injured, I would do this thing where we do like a 90-minute themed combat once a month. And that was just something to, you know, like sort of bring the team together. It would get the members to request tracks, like it would get them involved. And they would honestly want it once a week. Like if they asked me and I said no, because my knee can't handle that. But like, you don't know unless you ask. I am so lucky that when I teach my classes, they're my sounding board. I say, hey guys, what do you think? Like, what do you think about us putting this class on a different day? What do you think about, you know, how do you feel about, you know, 45-minute formats? And then I get some market research and I go, okay, well, let me take this out to the whole of the group fitness community. Because knowledge is power. Like I need to know what to give our members, and they're paying for a service. They deserve to have a surface that is worth their money. Especially with how expensive everything is these days. I'm very lucky. The gym I work for is probably one of the most affordable gyms around the place. Like what you get for your weekly fee is amazing. And I'm again, props to the owner for that, because he is very much of the sense that creating an accessible community gym is what he's here for. And that's awesome to me. And feedback is just so important. Like, how do you know you're doing a good job? It can't just be from your numbers. I can't just go, oh, well, that class has 30 people. Don't have to worry about that ever. Is there something we could be doing better? Why can't we 100%. Why can't we get 40 people? You know? So yeah, I love feedback. I think it's great. Giving feedback, not great, but getting feedback, love it.
Look, there's one thing you said there, which I really appreciate, because I, for a long time, was very much like, guys, if you're going to put feedback, you're going to ask people for feedback and ask people to give you some your members, guys, throw something out, great. But don't react to absolutely everything that comes back, because then you end up changing your timetable far too much. And in most cases, you end up only responding to those people that are loud enough. Those people that have spoken up and gone, oh, we want this, we want this. You've got to remember that, you know, you may have 4,000 members, but the feedback has only come back from 20 of them. And they're the 20 that are the loudest. It doesn't mean that they're the voice. It doesn't mean that they're the majority of what's going on. And so when you said there that you do it every 6 months, I think that is great, because it's giving you enough time to make any changes that you need to, implement it, let it run through, and then, hey, we're just going to check in to do it again. It's the ones that I freak out when they do it every quarter and then make a change straight away. It's like, no, just because 3 people have said they don't want the class at 5:30, they want it at 5:15, does not mean you go and change your entire timetable so that every day at 5:15 you now have a class and you don't have anything at 5:30. That type of stuff you need to take into consideration when you're looking at your timetable, but also the feedback from your members. It's those ones that have, like as an example with that scenario, there could have only been 5 or 10 that have just turned around and gone, no, we needed it at 5:15, but you got 40 people in your classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people only come 2 days a week. What about the rest of them? You know, so it's making sure as managers what we need to do is look at that feedback that's coming in and make sure it's a wide enough spectrum of feedback coming in from your members before you then go and make any changes. But also my advice with that as well would be to bounce it off your instructor team as well. You know, so whatever feedback you get, sit down with your instructor team or shoot an email out or communicate with them in some way. Hey guys, this is the feedback that's been coming back in. What are you getting from class as well? Because if numbers, you know, you're going to be able to tell from your attendance anyway. If numbers are good, don't really need to change stuff. You need to try and work out if you can improve it and obviously watch it to see if it's dropping down. If it is dropping down, then, hey, yeah, there's a bit of a red flag, right, what's going on?
Yeah.
But if things, and what I'm not saying here is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. If it ain't broke, just continue to monitor it and see why it ain't broke. But then you'll be able to tell when something's off, when something's not firing on all cylinders. It sounds like you've got that going on, which is a good thing as well. We'll say to you as well, I want to say to you is that coming into the role that you're in post-pandemic, would have been a challenge in itself because the whole the slate was cleaned. Yeah, everything from the pandemic when it hit us, walking back in, your members expected something different. Your instructors expected something different. Your senior management team expected something different. And you had to then go, oh, for you though, because you fortunately weren't, and I say fortunately, that you didn't actually, you weren't in that role prior, you didn't have to then come back in and try and relearn stuff and go, oh, crap, right, but that's the way we've always done it. That you're lucky enough that you just went in and went, oh, righto, what have I got?
Yeah.
How am I going to make this work? And I think I would say I'm going to say it's a little bit easier, but I don't mean that it's easier.
Oh, I 100%. I think it was easier. I guess, you know, like being a bit naive and a bit ignorant to what was happening before COVID because it was not something that affected me, I guess. I was just upset that I lost my classes when the gym shut. But coming in, you know, like it was just this big new wide world of, well, now what can we do? Like, you know, we're coming into a world where we've lost a lot of our veteran instructors because they've found new careers because of out of necessity, or just COVID was a really good time, really opening time for them that they thought maybe there's something different that I can do, something more. So I guess my biggest challenge coming back after COVID was the fact that we had lost a few of our instructors, and we are, you know, we're very much a gym that holds on to our instructors for a very long time. And so these, you know, one of the instructors that left was my absolute favorite. She was the reason I became a combat instructor. I used to go to all of her classes. I was upset that my wedding day fell on a day that she taught because I was going to miss her class. Like it was that deep.
I love that. Yeah.
So, you know, like when she left, I was like, oh my God, my inspiration has left. Like, what does that mean? Like, the world's crumbling. And, you know, we lost a lot of amazing people. And then we would get members going, well, why are they not teaching for us anymore? What did the gym do to make them leave? And it was really, that was the challenge at the time, was making sure that we had some new instructors coming through, trying to recruit for that. But then also dealing, I guess, with the loss. Like we're there at the time, I feel like we've sort of expanded our team now, but at the time there was a very core group, like a close-knit group of instructors, and to lose even one or two of them was a huge, like an amazing loss, particularly for our members who I guess rightly felt like a sense of ownership over those, you know, because they've been going to those classes for 15 years. Like, this is how it is. What are you doing? You know, I don't like change either, so I get it. But yeah, that was the challenge for me. But I guess I was sort of naive to what happened beforehand. So it was just sort of going, oh, well, you know, it's not that bad.
This is what we've got to do. No, look, something similar happened with Fitness First North Sydney, because North Sydney, in the Sydney CBD, even though we're on the other side of the bridge, we were one of the first, I think it was maybe 2-3 other clubs in the city only. But then over the years, they got to 7 city CBD clubs all around the area. And what ended up happening is, but yet Shannon had built an amazing team. We had a whole lot of trainers and presenters, but they lived on the other side of the bridge. So as new clubs opened up, they started getting classes in the city, or they then became GROUPEX managers themselves at their own club. And so they would take some instructors that I had, and then, we'd sort of all spread out a little bit more. And when we had the team that was what I called, the A team, which was absolutely amazing, and it was like almost every single presenter that was ever around was teaching there, it started to dwindle down. And the same thing happened there. We had members going, well, why isn't he here anymore? Why isn't she here anymore? What have you done? It's like, no. You understand that new gyms have opened. That's why they've gone. They've decided to go. It's nothing that we have done. It's up to them and the decision they've made for their career to go do that. But I remember some of the members coming in and getting quite narky about that as well, and having the what have you done? The finger in your face type thing. It's like, guys, hang on a second. No. And just it comes down to, back then anyway, was it coming down to sitting down with them and having that conversation to say, hey, understand, you feel that ownership of that instructor and you're annoyed because they've up and left and that was your favourite class and you were coming because of them. But everything changes and everyone needs to adapt to change. We're doing our best to get newer, fresher instructors in that they might not be at that caliber, but those instructors were at that caliber.
Yeah.
Didn't start there.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
I'll just say Siri decided to talk then. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but thanks, Siri.
This is the GROUPEX podcast.
Anyway, once those members realise that everyone starts somewhere, and new instructors, while they're not the trainer-presenter variety that we had in here, you're still going to get something amazing because that trainer and presenter has probably trained this brand new instructor that's coming through. And so you're going to get something of a similar caliber until they're up to speed and they're still there. So, guys, give them a bit of a shot. Most of them were cool. There were some members that lost their nerve about it, but they ended up going to one of the other gyms anyway, where that instructor was, and they followed them there, which was completely fine because they're entitled to, and go for it. But,
absolutely.
challenge is real.
I find, every gym is different, I guess. But the gym that I work at, we've had, the same instructors for a really long time. So they've been instructors for a long time. So they are awesome at their craft. We're lucky to have a couple of trainers and presenters, which are amazing, but we've got some instructors that have been doing this for 20 years. They are experts in their field. And so to lose that is quite significant. And, I think sometimes they forget that people do start from the bottom. And, I can think of, I'd been teaching, I was very, I don't know if lucky is the word, but as soon as I got certified in combat was my first program. 5 weeks later, the instructor she left her class. And so they gave it to me 5 weeks out. And I was like, sure, I got this. And it was so funny because I've had that class since I started, actually. It's been 8 years now, but I had this member come up to me a couple years later and she goes, I'm sure she was trying to be like the most lovely person and she had the best intentions behind it. She's like, you've gotten quite good, actually. Yeah. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. But inside I was like, wait, was I really that shit before? And I try not to take it personally, but I was like, you know what? Like, these people are used to the duck's nuts of instructors, especially the one who was my absolute inspiration, who's the reason I'm on the stage. So I was like, no, you have to give yourself a bit of grace. You've only been an instructor for a couple of years. Like, these people have been doing it for a really long time. Like, you'll get there. But it was just one of those moments that you're like, is this nice? Or
Look, and it can be the confrontation as well as humans, when someone doesn't like what we do, or someone sort of not challenges us, but gives us that sort of feedback where you're like, oh, hang on a second, what? Yeah. As an example, I remember the first class that I ever taught at North Sydney, there was a lady that as I walked in, she was set up in the front row and saw me walk up to the bike and on stage, and she said, oh, are you teaching? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, I'm not hanging around. And off she went, and that deflated me so much. But at the same time, I just went, okay, have fun. Ta-da. And it was like, you've got to, I think sometimes you've got to rise above it, but you've also got to go, right, you know what, that was one person, there's another 30 or whatever here in the class. My energy's got to be focused on them. Yeah. I've got to make sure that I'm doing that. But it's I think that also comes down to managerial skill set that you've got to have to realize that not everyone's going to like you. And I'd say that's with your entire team of instructors as well. You're not going to gel with every single instructor you have on your team. As an example, how many instructors have you got that would work for you?
Permanently, we've got about 24. So, and I can definitely say that, look, there's some of them that that we don't gel very well. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be professional. That doesn't mean I'm not going to do my utmost to support them. It's just not that personal, I think. And if you make it personal, it's going to really ruin you inside. I'm one of those people who likes to give everything to everyone and do everything for everyone and be everything to everyone. And I had to learn that when I became a GFM, that, actually it's not that deep and I have a job to do, and whether they like me or not, it doesn't mean I'm not going to do my job.
Yeah. And I think you get respect from that as well. Yeah, I mean, I would say the majority of instructors, not all instructors, because as I said earlier on and alluded to, there are divas. Yeah, we do have divas out there that are instructors. And guys, if you're an instructor, and if that hurt when I said that, I'm sorry, but
you're a diva.
That's might hurt. There's from most instructors as well, we're not going to gel with every single manager we have. Yeah, and that's from us as an instructor to deal with that and not be a right little pain in the butt about it, but you get on with it and you find your professionalism and you get in there and teach. You're not going to like everybody, You're not everyone's cup of tea, and that's cool for me because I drink coffee, so I'm completely happy with that. Anyway,
I don't drink either, so that's fine with me,
But it's that challenge, I suppose, that we face as leaders and as managers as well, that you have to deal, as I said earlier, with all the different types of personalities that you've got in there. Now, I want to have a chat to you about conflict just quickly.
Yeah, sure.
And I think it's a thing that I picked up from what you said a little bit earlier on as well, that you don't like conflict. No one does. No one likes conflict. No one likes that, all right, I'm going to have to sit down now and have that conversation, or I'm going to have to approach this in some way. We'd prefer not to. Yeah. None of us like it. I mean, I'll give you an example. Thursday, Friday, I was in Sydney at the Philex Business Summit. Yep. And they had presenters up all day going through different things for management. And it was close to the afternoon on Friday, and some guy was up there talking. He said, right, I want you to think about things that you really dislike doing or things that you find as a challenge. And I want you to think on ways that you can turn that around and spin it into a positive. Turn to the person next to you and tell them exactly what your struggle type thing is. And I had the franchisees from World Gym Australia sitting next to me, and I sat down and had a chat to Mike and his wife, Mel, and said, my downfall and my challenge is that I will talk myself out of doing something before I even do it. Yeah. So if I've got to phone someone, or if I've got to actually go and have a conversation with someone, the whole thing has been played out in my head before I even do it, and I've turned myself off going to do it. Yeah. The best thing for me to do, just go and do it. Yeah. Because I have no idea what the outcome's going to be. I have zero idea what the outcome's going to be. Whatever's going on in here or whatever's going on in here isn't really what's going to happen. It may be, but the chances of it, who knows? Yeah. The hardest thing to do is just to get up and go, right, move forward, have it. Yeah. And I say this to yourself and also any GROUPEX manager, always attack whatever you're doing head on. Yeah. Don't think about it too much beforehand. Prep. 100% prep for whatever you got to do, but don't talk yourself out of it or talk yourself into a situation where you walk in there and you're freaked out before you're even starting the conversation. Before you've even said hello, it's already turned to failure in your head, and you're like, no, this is crap. Have it and confront it with as much energy and passion as you possibly can, but walk into it with an open mind as well, so that when you sit down with that person, where that members have as an example, members have complained about that instructor, and you need to sit down with that instructor, but also that instructor is your best friend. Yeah. And as a manager, you need to put your manager hat on Yeah, as I say, Tony, put your big boy pants on and
Yeah.
have that conversation to be able to not reprimand that person, because that's not what you want to go in to do straight away. See, there's my head going straight into the negative. But you need to sit down and have the conversation and understand from their perspective what's going on. Yep. Members wouldn't complain for no reason, but you need to actually have that skill set to be able to walk in and go, cool, come on in. We need to have a chat. What's happening here? We've had this come through from members. Tell me your side of stuff. And then you've actually got more ammunition to be able to work out what you need to do. Yeah. It could just be those members having a bad day. It could be members having a bitch, a whinge, whatever it may be. Your instructor could have been having a bad day, whatever it may be. By having the conversation and by actually having the guts, the balls, whatever you want to call it, to actually move forward and sit there with them, is going to get you a resolution that is better than, as I said before, crap, I'm going to have to sack this instructor. And that would have been where my head would have gone years ago. Right now I've got to do this, One thing I learned as well, when sidetrack here, but when members gave me feedback on instructors, always find out 3 different sides of the story. Yep. Because there's what they said, and somewhere in the middle, there's that bit of truth that really was what was going on. But it's learning how that conflict of sort of going, okay, how do I manage this and how do I manage this so that everyone can actually move forward as well.
Yeah, look, it's not easy. Honestly, I like I said before, I have no issues with doing that in my career, in my other job, my nursing job. I can easily, if I have to performance manage someone, I can sit down and do that with no issues. If I used to work in emergency, I still do, but if I had a psychotic, irate patient coming at me and yelling at me, I can deal with that, no issues. But put an instructor in front of me who I have to give feedback to, it's such a gut punch just to me, because I know how much I value this role, this job that I have, even as an instructor and a group fitness manager. And I put so much feeling into it, and it would keep me up at night. Like, honestly, if I stay awake at night, it's usually the group fitness management job that's keeping me awake. It's not my other job. And
that shows your passion as well. That shows your passion and drive around what you do as well, which I totally respect and understand. What I will say to you is one thing that I learned very, very early on in my corporate career was to go to bed with a notepad and pen on the bedside table. And if there was something that kept going through my head and I kept playing over and over and over again, stop, sit up, write it all down and get it out of your head so you get decent sleep, because it's living rent free. Get it out, write it down so it's done. It does help your mind go, yep, sweet, done. Cool, I can get on sleeping. Yep. Yeah. And you can attack it in the morning, whatever it may be.
I'm very grateful that most of my instructors probably have do not disturb on during the night, because even when I used to do shift work, on night shift would be like the time where my mind would just go, and I'd and no one wants to have those conversations. I've recently had to tell an instructor that her class has to be taken off, and that's the most gut-wrenching thing, because it's happened to me before, and I remember how I felt, and I don't want that. I don't want to give that to someone, but at the same time, it's my job. Like so it's tough, and I just feel like as long as it keeps making me feel that way, as long as it remains gut-wrenching, I know I'm in the right spot. I'm still where I'm meant to be. The day it becomes not gut-wrenching is the day I need to step away.
Feedback for instructors, feedback on instructors in that regard. There is, in some of the groups that I've been involved in at the moment, conversations around, well, if they're not trained in that program, they shouldn't be giving me feedback. Now, I'll straight up say bullshit. To any instructor that ever says that to me, wake up to yourself. No, it's your manager actually giving you feedback. Now, someone in one of these groups turned around and said, oh, but they wouldn't know the choreography. It's like, got nothing to do with the choreography. If I'm there to assess you in choreography, there's a shitload more going on with your class that's wrong. I shouldn't be even looking at your choreography. No. It's more about getting us as managers to go in there to assess what the instructor's delivering, not as in what they're delivering was, oh, well, you missed that, was 4 counts, so that should have been whatever. I don't care about that. And be honest, most of your members probably don't care about your choreography either. If that wasn't the choreography, well, it bloody well should have been. You did it fine and effective and great. Les Mills are hating me right now for saying that, but that's all right.
They can hate both of us. I agree with you.
It's. I'm never going to go in to assess an instructor on their choreo. I'm going to go in and assess the instructor on everything else to make sure that what they're delivering is effective, is landing, is safe, is everything else that we need to be looking at to make sure that that member is getting the best experience. Now, that member has zero idea of what the new choreography is when you do it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, choreography is nothing. As an instructor, yeah, you need to know it and you need to nail it and make sure you do. But that's as a GROUPEX manager coming in to give someone feedback and assess them. Every single GROUPEX manager should have a skill set or needs to have that skill set in order to know what to look for, but also how to deliver the feedback as well. Yeah. There are ways and ways and ways of delivering feedback to GROUPEX instructors. And I'm not saying that I'm the best at doing this, because there have been times where it did not land whatsoever, and you've had an instructor that comes back at you and gives you feedback on the feedback. Yeah. One, there is no feedback on the feedback. Yeah. But that made me realize that, okay, what I was delivering needed to be done and delivered differently. Yeah. So it was cool. Tony, go out there, go and learn these skill set, go and find out where you can actually find courses or whatever it may be to actually learn how to deliver feedback effectively. How do you deliver your feedback? And I suppose before I ask you that question, how often are you currently assessing your instructors on your team, if you are?
Yeah, look, it depends. I guess like full-time life makes it a little bit difficult to get to some, but I do try to go to a class a fortnight, and I try to make them different depending on where I'm at in my schedule. You know, there's some classes where I feel like I'm probably not the best one to assess. I'll give an example: yoga. I'm not a yogi, done one yoga class in my life. It's not for me. Have no idea of the skills required for a yoga class. What I can assess is the presence that the instructor has, how they speak to the members, the grace they give the members, if they give options, all those sorts of things, you know, like making an inclusive workplace, an inclusive space for their team, all those types of things. You know, you know, there's more technical things like music level and stuff like that, just to make sure that we're not, you know, deafening our members. So I fully acknowledge that my skill set is not great in that area. And cool. You know, sometimes I'm not the best person to assess that, and so it would, if I had the ability, or if I knew another instructor was going to that class. Like, we have an instructor at our gym who's, like I said, been there for 33 years. She's very well experienced, very experienced yoga teacher. And so I would sort of ask, you know, like, what do you think? Like, have you been recently? I'm very aware of my limitations as an instructor, or as a manager in terms of that particular skill set. But what I can assess is the other stuff. I can assess how they speak to the members. We had an example recently where I got some feedback from some members that, oh, you know, like, she's in a bad mood all the time, like, you know, and so obviously what she was projecting to the members was negative, and that will definitely impact. I'm not going to go to a class where someone just whinges, because it's, you know, we're there to go and get empowered for, you know, to feel good. We've only got an hour in the day. We're not going to go there if we're going to get whinged at. So, you know, I had to speak to that instructor and say, look, this is what I've heard. It didn't come across to me that way when I've spoken to her in interactions, and turns out there was something personal going on. And I think sometimes they might, I don't know, it depends. As an instructor, I have no filter. So I will tell them all about my life. I will tell all my members, you know, what's going on. They know very much, like, about my dogs and all that sort of stuff. So I think sometimes probably we get a little too comfortable with our members, because 100%. We know them so well, and we're very comfortable in the space that we feel like we project something we don't know. And I think, and she honestly came out and said, she was like, look, I had no idea that people were seeing me that way. I didn't realize I was letting it leak. And that it sometimes all it takes is a little conversation, be like, hey, this is what I've heard. Like, is everything okay? Is something going on? I can honestly say that if one of my instructors, because I'm very particular about my instructing team, I don't employ everybody. Just now we've had a recruitment process for an instructor, and I had 8 applicants and was very, very picky and picked the one. And all 8 were fantastic. But So, I can probably hand on heart say that if there was something with my instructors, it's something else going on.
Yeah.
Or something else is happening. And they've come to teach, and like their kids haven't slept for 2 days. They've been sick. It's because it's life,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and those instructors that, they missed a beat, they didn't do the choreography right.
Yeah.
I always liken it to my nursing job. I have looked after people who have died. I have tried to revive people who have never been revived again. I have had to tell family members that my patient has passed away.
Yeah.
It's just group fitness.
Yeah.
If you miss a beat, if you do 42 jabs instead of 32,
Yep.
it's not that deep.
It
So
doesn't matter.
yeah,
Ball
so
isn't
I'm
gonna win.
also really, really conscious of how I deliver feedback and what it's for.
Yeah.
If it's the fact that, she always does this track wrong,
Yep.
then, well, it's just jabs and crosses.
Yeah.
That's probably not a very popular opinion, and it's probably not a very good Les Mills opinion. But it's how I feel. And I feel like if we are providing, it's more important for me and I hope for my team to provide a safe space, to provide the whoops and the smiles and the laughs and a good time, to provide that place where people can escape to if their home life is horrible, if their work is giving them the shits. Like I have one of my members just messaged me. She said, I haven't been to your Wednesday class in so long because work has been like putting me through it. She said, I miss and that's what I want. I just want people to come to my classes and hopefully to my team's classes as a way to just feel better, do something good for them. They don't have to be the athletes. We're not breeding athletes. We're not breeding Olympians. So if we miss a bit of choreography, it's not a huge deal to me. And that's not something that I would give feedback for personally. It's more the behavior, it's the attitude. If they're swearing a lot, like I know a swear word would pop out here and there, but if it's a bit too regular, if they're late, if they cut the class short, for a not valid reason, all that sort of stuff, because I feel like we have a duty to our members to be on time, to start the class on time, to finish the class on time. They have kids in the creche. They have, that time between, my husband gets home from work soon, so I have to be home to get all the stuff ready, or drop the kids off here. So those things are what's important to me and what I will give feedback on. I'm very lucky. I don't have to give a lot of feedback, and I'm grateful for that. But that also is just a reflection of the professionalism of my team and how seriously they take their job.
I appreciate everything you've said there, because it touches on everything from delegation through to giving the feedback to the leadership you've got, all the skill sets that we need to have as a GROUPEX manager. And there's not one GROUPEX manager that I've met or that I've seen that I've heard of that does everything perfectly. We're human as well. Just like our instructors are. There are things that we've got better skills at than others and that kind of stuff, and we're all learning every single day. I keep saying to my daughter who's 8, even Dad's still learning stuff every day, Alan. Don't stress, because you might not have got it today. You may get it tomorrow, or you may get it next month, or whatever it may be. Constantly learning stuff, and constantly, the day I stop learning, I'm going to be scared. The day I stop taking something in is going to be, holy crap, I've got dementia already. Wow, no chance. I'm out of here. I've already told them when that day happens, you need to sort that out fast. But we've always got that level of learning going on. Now, in feedback, and I'd say that if you have ever come across an instructor that is dead set, you're not giving me feedback, great. As you said, delegate it to somebody else. Delegate it to another instructor that may be better, or there may be someone that you can go to and say, hey, are you able to do this? If they have that skill set. But I would also, for you as well, go in there and learn from them as well and understand what they're doing, so that you're in there, but make sure that the instructor understands you're not ganging up on them. You are there because you want to learn to be able to help your instructor, but also learn from this other trainer, presenter, instructor, whoever it may be as well. I'm yet to come across an instructor that will turn around and, don't get me wrong, they think they're all amazing and they think they could never do anything wrong, because we all do. We never do anything wrong. We're just absolutely perfect people.
Absolutely.
But I think more and more these days, and I'd say the pandemic did get rid of those instructors that thought they were all that and then some.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic dwindled them out, but it's allowed us to, as I said, learn as an instructor. You know what? Yeah, I don't want to be critiqued on my choreography. I want to be critiqued on everything else. As an instructor, if you want to be critiqued on your choreography, get one of your best mates to come in with the choreography notes and watch you. Or better still,
please don't.
Set the camera up in the corner of the room yourself and videotape yourself as an instructor, and then sit down and watch it. Yeah. Not only that, one of the things that I did back in North Sydney was one of those, had an old camcorder we'd set up in the corner of the room for instructors. And because, yes, I was lucky that it was a full-time gig back then, but I was also PTing, I was also instructing, and I was also presenting for Indoor Cycle as well. Your time was limited with what you had to do. So I would say to my team, right, we're going to do some feedback round. There's going to be some assessment stuff. One is to go so you guys can see if we can give you a pay rise, but two, we want to make sure that you're delivering the best you can. So set the camera up in the corner of the room. I'm not going to be in there with you, but we'll sit down and we'll watch this together. Now, most of the time, not all of the time, most of the time, that instructor would actually watch it themselves beforehand and be like, oh, no, I can't give you that one. Yeah, because they've seen stuff in themselves straight away. So you didn't actually have to go through with the full assessment or feedback delivery because they've done it themselves. But there are chances where you need to sit down with them and say, okay, let's have a look. Let's watch this together. Not to sit there with your noteboard out and be going, oh, well, look at this. You screwed that up and you did that wrong. But more sit down with them and go, okay, at the end of it, how do you feel you went?
Yeah.
How was that? I saw a couple of things. What did you see? And let them go first to see what they come up with. But it's an easier way to soften the blow of assessing and feedback as well. So you're actually getting buy-in from them, but it makes it a bit easier. Even the members see a video camera in the corner of the room. They're like, oh, I don't want to be on that. As soon as the instructor says, nothing apart from assessing me, so I make sure I'm delivering the best for you as a participant. Most members, completely fine with it. You may find some that are like, no. Cool, righto, we need to move it so you're not in it, whatever it may be. Don't get me in the mirror, all of that kind of stuff. But there's ways and ways of being able to deliver that feedback as well. So
it's a tough one.
Yeah. Now, we're going to wrap it up because we're going a bit long with this one. But I want to ask you one more question. Yeah?
Absolutely.
What do you hate about being a GROUPEX manager?
Okay, the lack of time. I know there's just not enough time, I guess. My particular gym, I am only contracted for 5 hours a week, which I find is not enough. And it's a 20, I hate to say it, but it's kind of 24/7. I'm sort of on call all the time. Even now going to Singapore, for the weekend, I'm still going to be contactable, which is fine. That's what I signed up for, but I find that really tough because I don't really switch off. But I guess the lack of time, you're trying to keep the timetable going, making sure all the classes are covered. And that's probably my fault because I'm a bit of a control freak. I need to know who's covering. Are they aware that they're covering? Do they've got the right time? Like all of those things, because I don't want anything bad to happen.
Yeah.
Making sure that all my instructors are okay. Is the equipment okay? Is the room tidy? All those sorts of, little things. But all the stuff that takes up a lot of brain power. So I feel like I'm sort of always going, okay, we'll have to do the stats, the monthly stats so we can find out what our classes are doing. And then I've got to do the payroll. And so I just feel like for me personally, that's my gripe about the role is that I don't get enough time. I don't know what the right amount of time is because like I said, you're sort of on call all the time. And I can get a text at 11 o'clock at night. I can get a text at 4 a.m. And then it's sort of like adrenaline. What do I do? How am I going to solve this?
How do I?
So that's probably my gripe in a short answer.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. We need to have a chat about Cover Me, the app that I'm managing director for here in Australia as well. So I will chat to you after about that. Yeah, there's stuff in there that can help you manage that whole process as well, to free up your time to be able to do other things, but still allow you to see at any point in time if someone's asking for a cover and who's actually teaching it without you having to be involved on the whole, who do I get? The app does it all for you. You can jump in and go, oh, look, sweet. Yep. Instructor A can't, but instructor B is. Sweet. I know what's going on. It allows you to chill a little bit more without you getting the messages at 4, 2, 3, whatever time of the morning, night, whatever it may be. But we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But thank you for sharing that as your challenge as well. You know, I think it's as part of this whole series for the GROUPEX management stuff that I'm doing, it is to share experiences that are good, bad, ugly, whatever it may be as well. So I appreciate that you've been able to open up and share everything that you have done with us. I hope that there are people out there watching and listening as well that will be able to pick up things on this. The thing that I will say to everybody is Jacinta has come on here to share her experience here with us. Yeah, we haven't said that Jacinta is the best GROUPEX manager that there is out there. I've done this so I can get a variety of different people in
Absolutely.
to show and share with people that, you know what, we're all learning, we're all doing stuff. You may have picked some stuff up here today that Jacinta's been able to nail for you, and you go, oh, sweet, yeah, I want to know more about that. And if that's the case, guys, reach out to me and I can get you in contact with Jacinta. Or if you know Jacinta directly, please reach out. I'm sure you'll be okay if someone reaches out to you.
Yeah, of course.
But that's part of what we're trying to do here. And I want to say thank you for being a little bit vulnerable and being one of the first to come on, share that kind of stuff with me. The last thing I will say, if anybody has a go in any way, I will put an end to it straight away. Yeah, there's
fine.
Who's going on in social media, places out there at the moment where there's a bit of bullying, intimidation, and all that kind of garbage going on. I won't accept it. I won't tolerate it at all in any way, shape, or form. So if anything comes directly to you, please let me know, and I will deal with it in my way as well. But I'm pretty sure that the community that I've built, the community that are around GROUPEX, the podcast, the website, and everything, I'd say most of us wouldn't be, or if all of us wouldn't be in that regards anyway. So I doubt anything will come through. But mate, from me to you, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. I'm just want to say that this is an awesome series. I think something we don't have often enough is enough talk around group fitness management. And yeah, I feel like sometimes we're sort of just isolated in our own little areas. So it's really nice to hear from others and sort of just go, oh, I'm not alone. We're all in the same boat. We all have this, very similar challenges, but even different. And it's just, I would learn so much from any person you spoke to. So yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome, man. Thank you.